Dear colleagues, many thanks for this opportunity to speak during this Euro-Asian Forum. According to the forecast of many analysts, the 21st century was doomed to become the century of gas. But reality proved that history was right, and we've seen that the demand for gas coming from rapid evolution countries where there was a need of energy sources was growing. And so starting from the year 2005 up down to the year 2015, the worldwide consumption grew by 25%. Last year in Verona, we were discussing about our faith in gas, natural gas. We were talking about the worldwide gas fields. And I believe that the ecology thesis is very important for worldwide energy. And I'm going back to the Conference of Paris. From the analyst point of view, it's quite obvious that in order to reach our goals, so as to limit and curb down the growing worldwide temperature, we should make recourse to renewables and natural gas, that is, make use of clean energy sources. But we know that the market, the energy market, the gas market has been changing exactly in front of our eyes. I know that we have some 10% of natural gas, but this market is getting ever more similar to the one of oil. So from a local context, we've moved to global, and we've gone global. In the past 10 years, we've tripled the natural gas opportunities, the natural gas market opportunities. Competition is growing naturally. The global consumption trends, unfortunately, were not affecting its production and mining by one of its competitors, Russia. And in the past 10 years, the extraction level hasn't changed, knowing and considering that there are gas fields that are huge in Russia, and that stands as a very important objective. In the background of stagnation, on the backdrop of stagnation in the United States, we know that that went up by 50%, in Qatar by 300%, and we are convinced that growth will be in the medium term going on. But the energy market and its perspective up to the year 2020 allows us to see a different context, a broader one, I would say. Experts envisage a growth for the next 15 years in the market, in the gas market field, which is going to be of 300%. We envisage that the consumption of natural gas is going to double. And this is supported by the forecasts of demand and needs in those regions where there are no gas pipelines. And if the growth of the need of Russian gas in Europe were to be only of 12%, then we know that in Africa that's 59%. In Asia and Pacific, it's accounting for 56%. In the Middle East, it's of 45%. In Latin America, it's equal to 32%. Then let me make you notice that these growing markets are not easy to reach for the many gas pipelines from Russia. The only exception is represented by northern China, where we are building the Siberian gas pipelines. We know that the gas needs are well known to the experts of the market, and everyone knows that for the year 2025, the United States power could be as high as 20 or 19 million barrels. And in any such conditions, I'd like to say that it is important to solve the problem of the effective monetization of the fields of Yamal and Gaetan. And the projects here are worth more than 70 million tons. We also believe that the production will take place in the eastern European side of Russia, and also of the huge Yamal SPG project, which is the natural liquefied gas. Then we have French and Chinese companies that are actively involved. The factory is in the peninsula of Yamal. It's going to be a 24-hour kind of factory, working factory, operating factory. de facto, this is a huge international project. It's a giant project. And let me stress that an incredible supply of materials and of machineries comes from our own Italian partners, such as the Nuova Opinione and another whole set of some 25 different companies, Italian companies. Then the next project is represented by Arctic LNG2. And Arctic LNG2 will be producing 16 million tons of LNG on a yearly basis. This year, during the St. Petersburg Forum, in the presence of Putin and of the President, Prime Minister Matteo Renzi, we signed a strategic partnership agreement envisaging some collaboration with Saipem and Nuova Opinione. And I'd like to invite all of those who are interested in taking part in any such projects.
Ну, если позволите, я на правах модератора буду каждому выступать.
If I may, as a chairperson this session, I'd like to raise a few questions to all the speakers. Mr. MIKHELSON, I wish we can be invited to the opening, but the question is as follows. The sanctions have been raised some 2 years ago. Your company, Novatek, has it felt any repercussions? Because I know that you cooperate with a number of foreign partners. Do you experience tangible difficulties? Well, you rightly said whether there are real difficulties. Well, it took us some year and a half to prove our partners that real difficulties actually are not there. We don't suffer from any sanctions, so we can choose our partners quite freely. I raised this question because formally, indeed, you did not, you were not hit by the sanctions. Well, the sanctions were raised by the US with reference to financing, in that we cannot get any money on loan for over 3 months. All our problems derive from the fact that we read the word sanctions and the list of companies, and nobody wants to read the whole text of the sanctions to understand what this sanction really involve.